Okay, we're ready. Awesome. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. My name's Ken. It's the annual fire extinguisher and safety training day. Today's the day. Be lucky. So what we're going to do today, we're going to discuss the, of course, the fire extinguisher usage, and we'll go outside. We'll do some hands-on, and we're going to explain some about the do's and the don'ts, the safety procedures, building the facility rules, things like just a reminder, a refresher, and that'll be about it. And there'll be like a 10-question quiz that you have to log on the computer, you got to make a username and password and pass it, and then print it out and give it to Verna, and it'll be in your employee folder. If you believe that, you'll believe that either. Your face is like, really? No, there is no quiz, okay? So what we're gonna start with, of course, the building here, it is a non-smoking facility inside. Of course, if anyone has to do tobacco products, it's out there on the dock, and there's the proper receptacle to put your cigarette butts and or ashes into. That's their policy here, of course. So no smoking inside the building. That's anywhere inside the building. The fire alarm or the pull stations, they're red. They're about 4 inches by 6 inches. You see there's one over there, and they're be marked with a sign. The fire extinguishers are in cabinets in some of the areas here, and they'll be marked with also fire extinguisher signs, most of them. If they're in the cabinets, they're not necessarily required to have the sign. But if they're in the cabinets, you'll see them, and you have to open up the cabinet to get to the extinguisher. In the production area that we used to call the production area, most of the fire extinguishers are hung just along the wall, so they're not inside a cabinet. Obviously, you don't have to open up a cabinet to get them. So you have the pull stations for the manual pull for the alarm, and then you have the fire extinguishers that are located also throughout the facility. Typically, they're normally around exit doors. You're not gonna really see a fire extinguisher normally or even a pull station just in the middle of the wall, like right there, for example. If you notice where the pull station is there for the manual, the alarm goes off, it's near the exit, fire extinguisher's on the way out, fire extinguisher over there sort of into the kitchen towards the way out also, okay? The deal is with the fire alarms, the consumers, is that what they're identifying for people here? The consumers, they are instructed not to pull the fire alarm. It's up to you folks that are here as the staff. If there'd be an actual incident with a fire, you will pull the fire alarm. They know to exit the building, they know to file out, they know to be accountable for. You have to be accountable for them. So when they're out there, you have to do the accountability. Did anybody ever, who does the accountability normally? Is there a set person, or is it just whoever's there?
Fire drills?
Yes.
There's a person at the back and there's a person at the front, basically.
And it could be different all the time, okay.
Right.
So it's different all the time. When you do the accountability, if you happen to be that person, do not be afraid to do it, and don't try to pass it on to somebody else, just do it. And when you do that, the main thing to remember is when you do the accountability, is make sure you see the person physically. No, there's no hearsay, there can't be any, say I got out and I said, yeah, Berner was right behind me, she's all cool, mark her down, present. No. If your name? Columbus, if you see me, hey, I'm Kenny, I'm Ken Hackman, whatever, good, I'm accountable for her. And then you gotta see Verna herself. You gotta see that person in person, all right? And they gotta be toward you, they identify, or you, if you're not the accountability, you identify yourself to the accountability person. You're also gonna have to check out the visitor sign-in thing, all right? That's the importance of people to sign in, sign out. Now, of course, if it's the next day, however, if you have, like right now, you have funk people in here, where if there's an emergency, crap, the alarm went off, we had a fire, they're doing construction, so hey, some crap could go bad. You gotta be aware of that, especially with that. So be aware, they're doing some cutting, drilling, so something could happen. It probably won't, but there's more of a risk now for that to happen. So now, of course, you got those guys. Do they sign in every day? Do the funk guys sign in? So who's responsible for that? Whatever, but you know what I'm getting at. So
I
there'd
don't
be.
think they are. They were at first when they were coming in to talk to us, but I don't think.
Or are they doing
I would
their
have
own-
to get my clipboard and chase them all down every single day.
Yeah.
And that's something, it's a hassle, but maybe that's something maybe they can maintain.
Yeah.
Maybe have a discussion with funk, because
Yeah.
the type of facility you are. Hey, if something happens, how do we know you
How do
guys
we
are
know
out?
who was here?
Right, because right now they're doing that one area up there, the example is, no one's allowed in but them, because there's asbestos removal going on. So no one can be in there but the funk guys or whoever's doing that. So if something happens, how do you know if they're out? You know, is Funk gonna be responsible for their own crew is what I'm getting at?
Right.
Okay, so you gotta have that discussion, I believe, with them, seriously. It's a good thing we talked about this today, because they're here on site quite a bit, all right? So,
I'll shoot him an email tomorrow.
right, just say, because it's the type of, facility you are. So, yeah, if they were doing a job like just remodeling on your house, but here I know you have to have the accountability to sign in. Whenever I come here, you have a guest, they always have to come in and sign in. With that being said, if there is an incident, and say I was here doing this now, and we had to exit the building, I'm gonna be on that sign-in sheet, I'm still gonna have to, Columbus, I'm still gonna have to report to you, hey, I may not be on the sheet, but I signed in, Ken Hackman, I'm accountable for her, all right? So I'm here, so you know that I'm here. All right, and if you don't have somebody, then that's when you have to relate to the authorities having jurisdiction, which typically would be like the fire chief, fire department, POPO, the police coming, saying, hey, everybody I think's out, but I haven't, Verna's not here, I don't know where she's at. Okay?
They wanna put a bell around me.
Yeah.
Only because you disappear.
So Verna's not here right now. I don't know if she's out of the building. I don't know if she's in the building. It doesn't matter at this point. You can try calling. It's a good idea to maybe try to call and find out too. But if there's no response, because some people, I don't know why we have phones, most people don't pick them up anymore, or text. But that way then they have to search the building. Now it becomes a search. And whether the person's in there or not, they're gonna have to go in there looking for that person. Which isn't a bad thing, but it would sort of suck that the person, say Verna left without anybody knowing, and she decided to go to Burger King to grab a Whopper, and now they're looking for Verna in the building, there's a fire going on, you're risking other people's lives. Okay, so that's the importance for us if we ever leave the facility. Hey, I'm out. Like you guys were who just came in? You guys were out cleaning, or you got the Red Horse? Like they'll know they're out the Red Horse. We know they're not there. Call them. We know they're not here. They're out the Red Horse. The van's not here. Give a call. You're still gonna have to call and make sure that they didn't come back and just dropped in and they're hiding in the bathroom. Okay, so you're still gonna have to find the people sometimes that aren't even here to make sure that they're okay. All right. So accountability sounds easy, but even with this amount of group, it can be a total pain in the butt. All right. I've done it before in Iraq, but I've done it where I was responsible, I think, for 100 people. And I never got all 100 people. I got maybe about 80 people, 85, because people might have been eating at the gym, doing emails, but we still find them. Okay, so accountability sounds like an easy thing, but it's really not. Okay, so keep that in mind, and you don't freak out. If you don't have everybody, don't freak out. Like, oh my God, hey, you're doing what you can do. You're getting the people you got. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And if you don't have somebody, you don't have somebody. It's as simple as that. That's why you're doing the accountability. So don't freak out if you don't have somebody. If you don't have them, fine. But at least you know you don't have them now that can be searched for. Okay, so don't freak out. Don't worry, like, I have to get everybody. No, you don't. Just relax and just get who you can and move on. Okay, that's all you gotta do with the accountability. So that's the thing I was getting at with the alarm. They do that. They know to file out. They know to be accountable for consumers here. And of course, you, the staff, being accountable also for yourselves. All right. Of course, when we file out, keep order, they're pretty good here. From what I remember, they don't panic and freak out. They actually do better here than probably most of the other places, the group here. You know, the way they're trained. They're very retentive and they remember to go out and mix it properly. There's other places out there, it's a poop show. Seriously. And people, it's just, yeah. People get stupid. But here, when they had the actual fire, remember that? You were, when they had the actual fire from the laundry and the fire department and anybody had exit, big time. They were talking about it. This was talked about at that time in the city, the fire department. They were really impressed with how well, at that time, everything flowed with the group here. So, no problems. So that's that with the alarm and the accountability. Then the fire extinguishers, of course. The fire extinguishers, when we go outside, we're just gonna do the hands-on, but to explain a little bit about these, they are there, they're not gonna put out a major fire. Okay, they're there, the fire just started, you grab the extinguisher, boom, you can use it quick, but still you wanna pull the alarm. Some people think like, hey, there's a fire here, I'm gonna grab the extinguisher. you still want to pull the alarm. Okay, you can work in tandem too, like, oh crap, there was a fire. Hey, Columbus, go pull the alarm. I'm gonna grab the extinguisher, see if I can put this little trash can out, put this microwave out, pull the alarm there. You're still gonna have to pull an alarm no matter what you do and get 911 activated here. Did you tie into a system yet, or use just a house alarm? So you're still, your house alarm? So what that means is when that alarm goes off, it's just gonna stay internal here. It's not gonna go to the county. Okay, it's not gonna go to the new EMA headquarters, and then they're gonna dispatch automatically and send. So actually, it's gonna stay in the house. Someone's still gonna have to physically call 911. We have a fire. Okay, and explain all that. Whether it's the police, whether it's fire, someone has a heart attack, anything. Someone break a leg, someone's in dire need of something, poison control. You're still gonna have to call physically that. All right, so keep that in mind. The alarm's not gonna bring the fire company. You're still gonna have to pull the alarm, get everybody out, and someone's still gonna have to dial out and call out. Okay? So, with that said, and then the extinguishers, you're gonna try to, if you wanna try to use the extinguisher, you got the small fire, you can contain it and maybe even put it out. If the fire was already engulfed and it was like, you rolled into the kitchen, it's like, ugh, and everything's in flames in there, they're not gonna do anything for you. They're not gonna do anything. Okay, they have a shot at putting out a dryer fire, but the fire, when it's small, but you get it within the first 20 seconds to a minute, you have a good chance of putting this out. Once it gets bigger and the heat, forget it. You're gonna need fire department regardless. So understand. First line of defense right here. So they weigh about 17 pounds. Understand? So when you lift them, about 17, 18 pounds, varies on the manufacturer. And the instructions are always located on the front. And the type of extinguishers that are located in this building are ABC type. ABC, 3 classes of fire. They're safe to use on paper, wood, cardboard. That's the A. Your B class is flammable and combustible liquids. Flammables, examples of flammables are gasolines, fingernail polish remover, that's a highly flammable. Propane, stuff like that. Example of a combustible, still in the B class, would be kerosenes, diesel fuels, fuel oil. All right, pretty much the difference between the two, or you don't just basically make it in simple terms. You got a flammable, you light a match, go, it's gonna go. If you got a combustible, you're gonna light a match, you're gonna throw it in there, it's just gonna go. It's gonna probably go out. Okay, flash points, this is the difference. Flammables, highly, that's where you get the explosive problem. Anybody ever do the propane accident on your grill? Right, you ever do that, and next thing you lost your eyebrows, right? You're okay. I've done that years ago. Yeah. So that's a flammable, okay? Because hot, the flash point, and then the gas, boom, flammable. When you hear that, a gas house explosion, flammable, UGI, flammable. Okay, I'm driving around delivering fuel oil, pumping fuel oil, drops in your basement, someone could go down there and throw a bunch of matches on it, it's just gonna go out. It takes a lot higher flash point. You have to hold like flame there for quite a while for it to actually ignite. Same with the kerosene. So anyway, with that said, so keep that in mind if you have this stuff at home, you have kerosene at home, okay, it's gonna be hard to ignite. But gas, it's gonna be a different story. Propane, yeah, I'm gonna be careful, more careful around that. But propane, definitely. But your kerosenes, your fuel oils, and diesel fuels harder to ignite. Doesn't mean they can't, but just means it's harder. All right, it's a lot safer when it comes to igniting. So that's the B, that's your flammable combustibles. And then C is electrical. That's anything electrically energized. Could be a microwave, it could be your electric stove, it could be a tow motor. Electric tow motor, not like you have them here anymore, but they used to. But an electric tow motor has a battery, has electricity charge going to it. Anything of that nature, you're not going to get electrocuted. Okay, remember, like electric, they put electric, the C by itself, it's its own category, electrical. But technically, really, electrical isn't really the fire. Electrical typically will start the fire. A lot of times, today's environment, a lot of fires are caused by electrical something. Be it lightning, be it malfunction, the stove top, be it a furnace malfunction because something electric went in there, wires, whatever, and then it becomes, quickly it'll become, typically the C will start at the electrical start, and then it becomes mainly up to an A fire. Because most of the stuff is an A. look at your house. What's an A? Ordinary combustibles, paper, wood, cardboard, us, clothing. You look around your house, look around, most of this building's an A. This is all A.
What about Christmas trees?
What's that?
Christmas trees,
Christmas tree, A, yes.
electric.
Right,
Lights.
electric starts it, because of the heat, the electric shorts, makes the heat, and then the fire becomes an A. But what this is saying is that if you use the extinguisher, there's still that electric going there, and that gonna get electrocuted. You got it? Okay, because there still could be energized. A lot of times, like, say this would be on, say you'd have a fire, a lot of times when the fire department roll in, they'll kill the electric anyway. You know what I mean? A lot of times they'll kill that, or the gas. They'll de-energize, okay? Like the example is your kitchen back there. They put in a fire suppression that's required by code for the stoves and things back there. They also had to get the electrician in, so if there'd be a fire, everything that's electrically energized under that hood will also kill. So if there's a fire under there in your stove or grills, it'll kill that, plus it's gonna kill all those electric outlets. So there'll be no energy under there at all, be it gas or be it electric. There'll be no type of fuel source or any type of that. So that's basically the ABC. It's good for everything. And they'll also give your instructions step by step with pictograms, in case you can't read. And this stuff along the side, who cares what we do? If you want to get in the weeds, though, there is your hazardous material content type of information. The only thing that you got to worry about the dry chemical is that the health is a 1. It means it's a dust irritant. Duh. Flammability, it's non-flammable. Duh. And reactivity, it doesn't react. It plays nice with other things. All right, I always like to highlight the reactivity because I think people don't understand what reactivity. They always like, hey, does anybody understand what reactivity is? And if I don't get the warm fuzzy, like, yeah, I get this like looking around the room. Real short reactivity. I'll give you the easy answer to it. It gets more involved, but just to make it an easier answer. Reactivity is okay. So I'm the dry chemical. I'm yellowish in color. I'm dry. I come out. I look like a powder. Hey, I look like talcum powder, and I'm floating around. And now I'm mixing up with, say, kerosene. Is the dry chemical, the floaty stuff, and the liquid kerosene, when they match up, are they going to react together? Are they going to make something now more hazardous? So I match up, am I going to explode now? No. I match up, am I going to create a caustic type of soda? No. I match up, am I going to make a toxic gas that can kill you or make it burn your lungs or your eyes? No. So basically what it's saying, what it is saying, from the dry chemical, it reacts well with water and everything else. It's not going to react violently with specifically anything else. If you see these numbers, reactivity, see this is 0, that's easy. Zeros are easy. Flammability, zeros are easy. If health, 1, it's typically something mild. When these numbers, the flammability go to 1, you want to look at it. If this health goes to a 2, you definitely want to look at a 2. Something's going on here. The higher these numbers, the worse they are. And if you see like a reactivity, any number, always read it. Because it might say, you did the experiment with vinegar and baking soda. Remember that? Let's make a volcano. Oh, this is cool. Remember scouts or science class? That's reactivity. So basically like the reactivity there could cause like, it'd probably be a 1. Do not mix vinegar with baking soda because this will happen. Understand? So that in short, that's reactivity, how it plays well with other things when they marry up. Okay? Or think about if you were divorced, how you get along with your ex-wife or your ex-husband. How's that reaction going to be? Is that going to create a really unstable environment? It very well could. So you want to try to keep them in their own corners, keep them in their own boxes, and don't let them get around each other. Okay? So that's reactivity. In a short, easier answer as opposed to a 8-hour class. Okay? So that's pretty much what this is telling you. That's for your right to know. Are there any questions with the extinguisher? To operate it when we get out there, I'll explain it here. You want to remember the 4-letter acronym, which is PASS. The P stands for pull the pin, right here. The A is to aim the extinguisher. And when you hold this hose, you want to hold the hose at the end here. Hold it here, it's going to fly around because it's 195 pounds of pressure in it. The first S is to squeeze the levers together, and then the last S is to sweep side to side and aim at the base of the flames. A lot of times you don't have to sweep side to side. Pretty obvious. If you have a fire that's spread out, yeah, then you're gonna have to sweep side to side. But a lot of times, if you're containing a bucket or a little area, you just pretty much gotta aim it at the base where the flames are coming from. And just give your squeeze and slowly move it a little bit. If it's spread out in the ground, then of course you're gonna have to sweep side to side. And if you do gotta sweep side to side, like on a stovetop's only 4 feet wide, okay? So you don't really need to go here, rah. You're not doing if you do the alphabet, that's what I call it, the fire's just gonna rock and go crazy. You're not gonna be affected, all right? You don't need to be making an A and a B, all right? Doing all these loops. Take your time, stay back. 10 feet, this is important. How many feet?
10
feet.
Thank you. 10 feet, stay back, hit it, slowly move it a little bit, slow, aim at the base, and you'll be successful. If you decide to come back, pull and go crazy, you're not gonna be effective at all. The fire probably won't go out. So you take your time and hit the stove top slowly, okay? And stay back, how many feet?
10 feet.
10 feet. Why is the 10 feet? These things will, inside here especially, hit 10 feet. And if you're too far away, then you can lean in, and now you're at, because if you start at 10, the hose here is about 20, and then if you lean, so really I'm not 10 feet anymore. If you look at my feet, I'm really only about 8 feet, okay? From the tip of this. 10 feet from the feet, when I actually pull the hose out and I lean a little bit, put my arm out, I'm actually about 8 feet or less. So if Columbus is the fire, boom. But if I actually started here and now I reach out and I'm closer, I could be making that fire worse. Plus you're putting yourself more in the fire's way in that harm's way. So you want to keep your distance. If you're too far away, you can always creep in a little bit and then hit it. You never want to start too close and have to like, oh crap, and then back your way out, because now you're endangering yourself. Okay, so 10 feet, pass. Past 10 feet, past 10 feet. Think about driving your car safely, keep a safe distance, you're gonna pass, keep it a safe distance. Got that? Drive a car, I'm gonna pass. Keep a safe distance, go back in. So past 10 feet. Understand? Cool. So remember that when we go outside there, and I'll review it again when we go out, when we all do the hands on. So that's some of the things here, and also with the calling of the 911, we discussed that a little bit. That's also for the police or anything like that, and also evacuating the building. You guys don't do any active shooter thing here, do you?
We have in the past, we have had a couple trainings over the years.
Good, because that's probably a good thing in today's environment, because it's,
We don't do it annually, we probably should, but we.
yeah, or something. What are you gonna do? The policy. What are you gonna do? Sit in place, lock doors, things like that. Try to get out. I don't know. That's up to you. Okay. Is there anything else you need me to cover in?
Does anybody have any hot fire topics?
Oh, by the way, these extinguishers are in the vehicles, the vans.
Yes.
They're smaller. They operate the same. All right, so they will operate the same. If you have an incident, just go to town. No different with the way the pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. Yes.
Do they come in pumpkin spice?
They do
scent?
not come in pumpkin spice. They come in chrome color though. You can get them in chrome. Some people want them. Okay. Big bucks. And just remember, if you use a real Christmas tree, make sure you water that goat. And be careful right now with how warm it's been. We haven't had rain now. It seems like forever. It's very, very dry right now. We've been having, I was telling the other group, we've had 8 fires. Not me, but in the past since Friday. Different stuff, which is unusual. Usually we get a call for recharges. Once in a blue, we get them, but not this many. A couple mulches, a couple filters, weird stuff. Okay, and I think the heat's contributing to that because everything's drying up, and then it doesn't take as much to ignite something right now. All right, because of how hot it's been and dry. There has been, even the humidity, like this is like 100 degrees today or whatever, 98. If you think about back in July, today, this feels hotter and it's more humid than it does today. But it's dry, it feels drier now than it did in July. You know, if you put July to this temperature and put in the same, July is still gonna have, I think, more moisture floating around because of the humidity. We don't have as much humidity to be happening right now, and everything's still dry, because you can look out and it doesn't look as hazy all the time. July would be like, oh my god, you know what I mean? So this is different than July, but this is drier.
So if
things-
you're camping, you've gotta be careful.
Yes, I don't even know if they put a burn ban in yet or not. If they didn't, they should. Because things are really, out there, really dry right now. So be careful if you're outside with any type of fire type of things. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Any questions?